This meeting is being recorded.
Wow. Okay, hello everybody to our second Milan Fashion Week crit. We have before we start, so we've created this crit based on the shows of, oh my gosh, Moschino and Giorgio Armani. And so we have our lovely panelist guest, Anya. So Anya, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your work, your process, and how you're finding working in the industry today?
Hello, everyone. So my name is Anya Kabul. I'm a fashion illustrator from Berlin, and I work mostly in the field of fashion and live illustration. Live illustration means I get invited by fashion labels, it's mostly fashion labels, to draw live at their events and draw fast fashion sketches or portraits of clients and guests. Well, I've always been drawing as a kid. And later on, I started sewing a lot when I was a teenager. And so the only conclusion was to combine these two fields to study fashion design. Afterwards, I started working as a fashion designer. And I enjoyed this a lot, but I guess I was always missing a little bit the part of the drawing. So I did a little excursion to the field of fashion writing. I did this for 7 years, worked in online journalism. And I guess it was like 8 years ago, I finally did the step to work full-time as a fashion illustrator. Accidentally, I got to the field of live illustration. I had a job which really came accidentally to me, where a company asked me if I would do live illustration for them at a trade show. And it was love at first sight for me, because I sometimes have trouble being spontaneous and like jumping into it and start drawing. And when I'm doing live illustration, I feel like I'm being pushed to do it. And it motivates me a lot, and I feel like it pushes me always to the next level. And so when I'm doing live illustration, I usually draw analog only, so it's always watercolor and ink on paper. When I'm doing commissioned work for clients at home, it's usually digital illustration. I feel that there's a big gap between the analog and the digital part, which is annoying and interesting at the same time somehow. And I'm still working on combining these two fields better. I feel that sometimes I'm getting a little lost with the digital stuff. It gets too much detailed, but I guess that's something that many illustrators have. And but both ways are very much fun to me, and I couldn't think of leaving one of them out. Yeah,
a good balance.
I love your digital work. I don't think it's overly detailed. It seems to me very spontaneous and fresh.
That's what I try to make it look like.
Yeah, well, you succeed. You succeed, as always.
Sometimes the process doesn't feel like it. Yeah.
No, it looks great. I actually definitely would be fascinated to be a fly on your wall, seeing how you do that.
Thanks, Patricia.
You're welcome. Small green fly.
Of course.
Just don't swat it, okay?
Do you start at all when you do digital? Do you start analog first and then scan it and then work digitally? Is that something?
Sometimes, but most of the time I go digital right away. But I always do like a pre-drawing, as if it was a pencil sketch, and then start to color it. I
And
guess
what software do you use, Anya?
Photoshop. I
All
work on a Wacom Cintiq
Yeah, yeah.
and then work with Photoshop.
Ah, so you don't use the iPad.
No, actually
probably why-
never tried it. Never tried it.
That's probably why your work looks different than
Yeah.
we do digital, because we had this conversation in the last session that most digital artists, it has the same quality, or like the essence of it is very similar. And we're thinking that it's maybe the brushes that are on Procreate or something like this that kind of looks the same in a sense.
But I mean, there's such a large variety of brushes, I feel. And I think that's the hardest part about digital drawing, to decide for a small range of brushes that you're going to use. And I think I felt like that pretty much then defines also your style.
That's
because
interesting.
when I started out, I felt a little lost because I tried out so much and it was just overwhelming. And then I tried to narrow it down to a certain amount of brushes and styles that I use, because otherwise it's too much.
Yeah. It's like going to the supermarket, too many choices.
Yeah.
And so do you kind of retain a palette of brushes that you consider are connected to the style that you want to give?
Yeah, I just decided that I have to limit myself to a certain amount of brushes, and those I use over and over again.
Yeah.
But I feel like with these, you can still do so much. I mean, maybe one day I will start looking for another one, but it's like, I don't know, searching for a needle in a big pile.
Well, it's like cooking with too many options.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to put in the Irish stew?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, thank you, Anya. It's so lovely, and we're so happy to have you on board.
Thank you.
I'm going to share my screen. Oh, Patrick, can you let me share my screen?
Yep.
So we'll be selecting or seeing some more artwork from Moschino and Armani. So I'm gonna share my screen. Where's my, oh, 1 second. I need to bring up my, there we go. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to have a look at artwork from Fida Connie's Crit hashtag, where people have posted some artwork from the shows. I believe this one is from Moschino by
Sarah Darby.
We've missed her. I can't believe she's not here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, sorry. Is there any other artwork by her for this show? So we can have
Don't know.
I'm just gonna go to her.
I think that's the best thing to do. Yeah.
Oh, this one's nice.
It's very nice. You might like it.
I think what's interesting about Sarah is she's really starting to break out of her skin. And these sorts of drawings feel, I want to say, sort of a combination of retro and modern.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think she's really nailed it.
Yeah, there's a nostalgic quality about it.
Yeah, but doesn't feel
no,
a pastiche of the past. It feels like I can feel like you've looked at something, you've had a little bit of influence, but you've kind of shifted it forwards a little bit. And she's
well, it was like you were saying, Patrick, about capturing a mood, and I think in that image she's captured a slightly nostalgic atmosphere in a very contemporary way, you know.
Yeah, I really like
the oil pastel.
Oh, you saw the oil pastels coming in.
I'm drawn to
That's all you're seeing these days.
But I'm seeing a bit of acrylic as well on the
yeah.
So it's a nice mixed media.
Yeah, no, she's good. And it's so different from her impasto.
Yeah. Anya, do you have any feedback for Sarah?
I also like the mix of media. It's so nice. You still see the wet paint on it. And I also feel she captured the look of these two girls really, really well. And from that, you get kind of an atmosphere of this elegance that this collection has.
Yes, yes. Actually, the makeup and the whole presentation of the models' faces was beautiful.
Yeah.
I do
And
get
these two girls are looking us directly in the eye.
yeah. I do get a little bit of anime vibes from the one on
Do
the
you?
Yeah.
Do you?
eyes.
Yeah, the size.
I used to draw anime when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I think all Asian children draw anime when they're a kid.
it's
I'm
compulsory.
getting anime vibes from the one on the left, but I quite
Oh,
like
yeah, left.
yeah. But quite nice.
So
Thank you,
I think it's
Sarah.
lovely. Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah, for sharing. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, there's another one of that one.
Sarah,
Very
that's the Moschino. Yeah.
Yeah, Moschino.
I like this one. I like how she blended the inks, especially in the head part.
Yeah.
What would have been nice, because I thought about this look, what was so amazing that the houndstooth pattern, that it melts down. Like
That's right. Yeah.
And this could have been nice if she would have continued that on the skirt, you know.
That's very true.
And went a little down and melted it more.
Yeah.
But I like especially the head part and with the earrings. It's very nice how she worked with the inks.
The punk headdress looks well.
I think my only criticism is the posture of the body is a little bit awkward for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
I think because it looked, for me, it looks a little bit awkward. It takes away from, like, the head part for me is really full.
Yeah.
Then the body.
If we could crop just above the waistline, above the pocket.
Yeah, possibly.
If you cropped that upwards, it actually is just lovely.
I would bring the shoulder back behind the collar and then move that arm, like just cut the arm out and then put it back a little bit. Because I like how abstract it is, but the perspective for me is a little bit odd.
Do you think, Connie, if it was more wrong, it would be better?
Yes, either correct or go even more.
It's sort of in the middle of,
yeah.
It looks like an error rather than a deliberate mistake.
Yeah.
It's probably because of the pattern, because she tried to continue the pattern.
Yeah.
And then it got, a little stiff.
How would you approach this, Anya?
I guess I would have gone with the body shape first and then worked on the pattern and tried to adjust it to the pose. I feel like she went with the pattern first and let this pattern or the structure determine the whole posture. So I think I would have done it the other way around. And it's right, it's a big contrast to the head, which she did really nice. And also the head is so, it has so much contrast with the earrings and then the shadows and the pattern, it feels kind of flat.
Yeah.
And the glasses, the sunglasses look great with the punk head, you know, which they weren't in the show. So that's a Sarah edition. And I think it looks great.
Do you think maybe she should just cut the head off with the collars?
Yes.
And do a new body.
And redo the body.
Yeah.
I think that's what I need to do with myself, actually.
That's what I would do.
I also think, I mean, for me, a hand is always a giveaway when somebody,
For
me, if I had the same technique of the head in this area with the hands, that dark ink wash down to create a shadow and a little bit of detail to differentiate the fingers, I think that would be nicer to kind of balance it out. Yeah.
And would you have applied a diluted ink shadow onto the houndstooth arm?
I quite like how flat it is.
Right.
But then for me, I always get bothered by the hands and somebody just so nice and the hands like, it's like a,
yeah.
But that's just a suggestion.
Challenge. Yeah.
but lovely, lovely drawings. And who else was there for?
I did Moschino, if you want to have a look, but I may have done. There is Sarah doing live.
Sarah doing so many things.
Yeah, no, Sarah's.
Am I on Sarah's page? Oh, that's why. I was like, where is all the other stuff? Okay, we'll go down the list. I think this one was, yeah, Moschino by Stephanie. Is she here? Yeah, Steph.
Hello. Hi. Yep.
Hello,
Tell us
Steph.
a bit about your process.
This process is actually I've been using my phone.
Really?
It's like an app on my phone. It's called Freeform or Freeform. I have a lot of time in the mornings. Like I commute to my job during the week, so I work full time, and then I draw in the evenings and things. So I sat and did this on the bus this morning because I was like, I really want to do something for the crit. So yeah.
You just used your index finger, I see.
I did, yeah.
Good for you. Well done.
Oh, it's liked by Moschino.
Yeah. They reblogged it.
Sorry?
They reblogged it on their website.
Woohoo!
Your
Good for you,
thing.
Steph.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I think this shows very well how good it can work out if you have like a limited palette of things to work with.
Very good point.
Because I think it's so simple, but it captures perfectly the essence of this collection.
I agree.
I mean, you can see that it was done in a very easy and fast way, but it has everything that this collection has, and you see it at first glance.
The mark making in the jacket as well has got its energy. It's nearly got anger in it, and somehow, Steph, you know, it's like, oh, you know, which is like suits the punk headpiece, you know. I think it's great.
I don't know, since coming back from I went to the Fashion Scout thing, and it was just the most amazing thing. I've never had an opportunity like that before, and I don't know, I feel like I'm on a different kind of path with the drawing and the experimenting, and I'm still finding the way, really. Yeah.
It's a never-ending journey.
Yeah.
I think that's a song.
I want to try this out, actually. It sounds
Steph,
really
do you do lots of these?
I've done 2 so far.
Right, because there's a person I interviewed, and he does drawings on the train. He only draws on the tube to work on the New York subway, and I interviewed him, and he's the most amazing. And his rule is that he starts on the beginning of his journey and ends at his when he
gets right. That's interesting.
Every drawing takes, I think he's a 1 hour journey, and he just does it constant. A New York based guy. So I think if you could make a whole series of these finger drawings on your little iPad or on your phone, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I think I think there's something quite refreshing. And as I said to Connie earlier, is how these would work in bigger scale and keep that. Because if you look at the work of someone like John Booth, he has this sort of style that looks quite small, but then he makes some he did a project with Selfridges recently, and he keeps that vivid crudeness to his work, and most people would chicken out of doing it. And I feel that if you could keep that freshness to it, it's really, as we said, it's liberating to see it doesn't look like anybody else. And
that's very true. That's very true.
It's amazing.
I'm always worried I'm copying somebody, or
no, I think that's very distinctive.
Who?
I think that's actually, do you know what? That's also a totally viable image to put on product. It would look great on t-shirt, would look great, you know, it's a really good image. Sorry, that's just the fashion designer escaped.
I think also, Steph, is you should make people more aware, because I think people would take it for granted that you've drawn it with your finger on your phone. So if you get like a friend to take a snapshot of you doing
True.
it quickly,
Good point.
then
Yeah.
people would go, "Oh my God, she actually did it with her finger on the phone."
Yeah.
They'd be more amazed at the whole process of it. And I think that's what I feel that would be great. Obviously, it gives away a bit what you're up to, but I think people would appreciate, because we're always nervous that we need to work in things more and push them further. But look, Moschino reposted it.
Yay, Steph.
Congratulations.
Yay.
And I think, you know, they would love, and Moschino's is entrenched in illustration. You know, it started from illustration. That was where it came from. It was, you know, built from a fashion illustrator. So they know that it really means a lot to the whole system, the ecosystem. So, and it's a great brand to keep connecting to, because Moschino love illustration and they always have artists that do work.
And Patrick, how would Steph maximize the fact that Moschino actually reposted her thing? Would she send them a thank you, or is that being smarmy, or what?
So what I've seen a lot of illustrators do is they might do a screen recording of it on the page. If you're still, you know, you're still early to the system, so you could say, "Oh, look, like a love heart or something," showing your appreciation that you've been posted.
It just kind of it tightens up the bond between you and the brand.
And do a series and then repost it to them, and maybe make a little iPad.
Because I think that's a window of opportunity.
Yes, don't let it go. And I think while they're on to you, do more.
Tonight with your toes.
I think also what they really liked when I read your message there was, I did this on the way to work on the bus. They love stuff like that. It feels authentic.
Real.
Rather than you're an influencer who lives in a chalet and it's a highlight, and you're pretending. You're actually a genuine person. And that is what fashion really calls out for, is the real people. They want them.
Even if you pretend to be a real person.
Well, we hope not.
I'm only joking. That's just the Irish sense of humor.
Thanks, Steph. It was lovely to see.
I think it's wonderful. Big round of applause, girl.
Okay, next up, Julia. Love.
I like that. Julia, your work is lovely, really lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us a bit more about your process.
So it was similar to the last two that you saw. So again, it's using gouache. This time I used a charcoal to get the energy in the headpiece. And then,
it's digital as well.
The face is lovely as well. You do very beautiful faces without overdoing them.
Thank you. The background, I just superimposed like another figure that I drew to get the depth of the runway.
Did you do that analog or digital? The background?
I did the background digitally.
All right.
But the figure at the front and everything else was painted.
I think I have a difficulty with the background, so that's a good idea. I might steal that if I may, Julia.
Yeah, definitely.
Steal Julia's background secret.
Any thoughts, Anya?
I like the pose of the model also very much, the way she fits into the page. Even though I only have the feeling I would almost love to see more of her.
Like I wanted to make the emphasis on the headpiece, so that's why I sort of zoomed more into that rather than showing the whole figure.
Yeah.
But Julia, what we mentioned earlier was, and I said this to Connie, is repeating your process. So this could be part one, redo your process and redraw this, like Anya's saying, maybe there's more to this figure. There's a really interesting process that Robert Rauschenberg uses. And what he does is he draws the picture on paper, he photocopies it, and then he uses white spirits, and it's called two verse. It's like a transfer basically. So you transfer the photocopy onto the paper, and he like scribbles. So look at Robert, because your background reminds me of a combination of what he does when he kind of scribbles so it's the photocopy then transfers onto the paper, and you can do it. So if you made 20 photocopies, you could then transfer them to really nice any paper. You can even transfer it to wood or canvas, and then do your painting on top.
What was his name again? Robert
Rauschenberg.
Rauschenberg.
Or a UCH.
I should be giving a history lesson.
Nice.
And he did the JF Kennedy pieces. He does these amazing. They're like transfers, and they're great if you do a printmaking course. I think we've mentioned this, but I think, Julia, it'd be a great thing for you to play with. The only thing is white spirits smell, and don't go out drinking after you've used white spirits.
Why not?
Why not?
You'll get severely drunk.
Oh, that's
there you
good.
You could be a cheap date.
Very nice though.
Really
funny.
good. Great colours.
Okay.
How do you
another
know
one.
that, Patrick, if I may ask?
Sorry?
How do you know that?
Because I lived in a printmaking studio. That's why I know a lot about printmaking. And you go straight to the bar after class, and you'd only need one drink.
This actually explains a lot about some of the printmakers I got friendly with in college. Yeah.
Yeah, they get very drunk because of the fluids, the smells.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
This is lovely.
So this is the Armani piece, which I drew in watercolor pencil. And then again took it into Procreate to do the clothing and the rouge.
It almost
Lovely.
looks like one of these line drawings where you never lift the pencil.
That's true.
Yeah.
But this is what's really nice about
contour
it.
drawing. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
Me too. Again, do you remember we mentioned about, I think, was it Sarah's work, that there was a touch of nostalgia, romance about it, and this definitely has that in a lovely way. Yeah, it's timeless, actually, a timeless quality.
I went to the National Portrait Gallery yesterday, and there's a really famous painting by of the Beatles, and I can't remember the name of the artist, which is not good for me, but it has that sort of finished, unfinished mix, and you've managed to really get it right. And I think this is what Anya was talking about, is grappling between handmade and digital. I can only see this as a little bit digital on the garment, and I don't know if you necessarily need it, but I don't think it's made it got worse. I think it is enhanced it, but it's a real nice blend. I think you've got a nice blend here. You haven't killed it with too much digital. And I think that's the bit that Anya was talking about earlier.
Just lovely marks, lots of good mark making. I like the scratch in the back.
Yeah, and I also like that you left it like a little kind of unfinished, the face. It's not overdone. Like, for example, the right eye is totally different to the left, and that makes it so interesting. And you're going around the face and looking from this to that part.
Yeah,
I think that's what keeps it so interesting to look at.
I agree, and I would have been absolutely, totally compelled to do the second eye. So well done.
Yeah.
And Anya, a question for you is, because you've got a commercial brain, how would you advise Julia on this work commercially? Do you think she should leave it, or do you feel that this wouldn't work for the commercial world, or is the commercial world ready for this sort of work?
I think it depends on the brand you're working with, and then on the clients that those brands have. Most brands I work for, I think for them it probably wouldn't work that very well, because many of these clients, they don't, or the customers that get drawn, they wouldn't understand what's the beauty in the unfinished drawing. They would think there's something left out, or it's not done yet.
Unfinished.
But I've seen illustrators doing this kind of stuff, like more abstract drawings, or like also painting in colors that are probably not corresponding to the real image. And it works really, really well. And I think sometimes it's even nicer, and also it could be something that makes live drawing even easier, because you're your own boss in doing the drawing the way you want it to do, and you decide when it's finished. But I think this could work very well for a commercial, but I think it would have to be something you would have to agree with the client first, and they would have an understanding for this kind of drawing.
If it was aimed at a particular editorial, perhaps.
For an editorial, I think
a
it
slightly
would work
more
very well.
Edgy editorial or magazine, as opposed to just Vogue.
well, if we think about it from a different point of view, that if you look at when Vogue did the magazines purely based on supposed illustration, there weren't any illustrators. It was David Hockney. It was all artists, and they made out, everyone was like, it's so liberating. They've used all these amazing fashion illustrators. There was no fashion illustrators. They were all artists, and they all drew in these sort of very unique ways. And I feel that, and all the people I know who work for Vogue Italia and all these different magazines, they love this sort of work, but they never have the courage to use it.
Really?
They never.
So is that like a creative director's kind of responsibility to make that decision?
100%. If I become the creative director of Vogue, Vogue Russia or something, you'll be seeing lots of commissions from me, which will be definitely avant-garde.
As you're based in Siberia.
Yes, they'll put me in the middle of nowhere.
But for example, Jessica Rosebird, she's an illustrator who's drawing rather abstract, and she's done a lot of live events for clients. And I think when you look at these illustrations she did, it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
And was that for a particular brand, Anya, that you felt?
I don't remember what it was exactly. I would have to take a look at it.
No, it's no problem. I just
wondered. It was probably a magazine or something, and I thought it looked so cool. It was so fresh.
Yeah.
What I think what Jessica's been doing, and Connie probably knows more than me, is she's been working for more like hotels and during Fashion Week rather than for brands. And I think only from Roxanda using her has probably educated people to using her. And I think she did some work recently with Harrods, and they commissioned and showed some nice, and then she obviously did M&S. So, you know, we're seeing much more commercial brands using her, and she's sort of getting a real nice mix of what is sort of commercial and artistic. I think she's in a really good place at the moment.
Great.
I think they're trusting her.
Yeah, no, she deserves it. Yeah,
and it's taken her probably how many years, Connie? You would probably know. She's been going to Fashion Week for 10 years.
I think I met her like 7 years ago, and she was just starting.
Yeah, so there you go. It's taken her 7 years.
It's an overnight success.
She was working at Roxanda as a shop assistant. Like she was working in the store, I think.
All right, really?
Like retail.
Wow. Good for her. Well done, her.
if she watched this, I can't remember, but I think that's when I met her. Or she worked something for that company.
Yeah.
Not sure.
You have to find your any way possible in. Even if you work in the shop as a seller and then you bring your sketches with you, it's a way in. That's it. And I think, look at her now, she's drawn for Roxana and now she's doing great and she's gone on to bigger, better things. So it's great. They're appreciating. So keep going, Julia. Just find your audience.
It takes a while.
But the work is lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go down. I'm not sure if this is part of Jill's.
Where's yours, Patricia? Did you?
Yeah.
I did send them to the Fida Connie crits, but not seeing them there.
We can just go to your page if you
Want
want.
to go with Patricia Keithley art?
Yeah. Oh, nice. Is this it?
No, that's my own work.
Ah. I see some drawing caricature.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
there it is. Let's look at this. Moschino. Ah, you put the wrong hashtag.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Nice. I love the different materials that you used. Looks great. Looks all the textures. I do think she looks a little bit surprised. I feel you were like a little bit stunned.
I think she is. I think that headpiece just went too far. But if you go back to the other one that shows the jacket, so I had promised myself I was going to experiment, right? And so what I did was I had black ink, Anya, I had black ink,
Yes.
and I crumpled up tissue, like real tissue paper, and I just put a big blob of that texture down, which for me is actually quite brave, and then worked from there.
Worked very nice. Especially in the
I think
yeah.
the face isn't great, etc. And then I cut up some black paper shards and collaged them onto her poor head and used chalk pastel for the feathers.
I think for the faces in both, you could have probably even left it more abstract.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is my fashion design flaw.
But I really like how these jackets turned out. Also in the second image, there's so much movement. You can almost see how it's like flying.
Really great, because I thought I'd drawn her badly in the movement. Connie, the legs, I thought.
I think if you just tilt it forward.
Yeah, her hips.
Move. I mean the upper body.
Oh, the upper body
is too. It's going too back, so she looks.
All right, looks like she'll fall backwards.
Yeah.
And her arms are too short because I was again working on that blob and I didn't make the blob.
I think it's fine. I think
it's
fine. Yeah, it just
good.
looks like she's holding the thing.
Okay, that's great.
I would like to see you reference Claude Monet, because he, his Water Lily series, and I think when Anya just said there, like the movement of the pastels and their abstractness.
Yeah.
Look at Impressionism. There's an Impressionism exhibition at the National Gallery at the moment about how it created modernism. And I think maybe with this sort of movement of them yellows and pinks, I feel that you should maybe do some drawings where you think about it from a totally non-human point of view, about how do you represent the spirit of the show with color. So if you imagine, if we zoomed in on that jacket and we took the head off and we took the bottom off, and you have the movement of all of that, almost feels like the Water Lilies piece, and it has that sort of it's vibrating, and that says quite a lot. And then maybe you could think about how you could then add in the other elements to create the same vibrancy. and that could create your own sort of visual language for. So you already can do this. One thing we have to learn about, and that was what Connie was talking about, is stepping into the unknown and trying things new. It doesn't mean trying a new medium. It means trying a new process. And and when we're listening to each other, going through these discussions, is really to take you apart and sort of build you. And I think that maybe you can capture the essence of the vibrancy in the piece, and then you can start rebuilding it again. And I feel that you're using your fashion design, you're using your memory too much from fashion design. And it's informing it too much. I think Anya's spot on. Go abstract. Maybe look at them as paintings, or maybe, you know, it could be that you represent them in small squares. So you have the jacket as a close-up, and then you have the base as another piece. Then really think about it from as if you were doing fabric swatches.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
And something might come out of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's the whole,
no.
That's the whole process.
In this one, it was the plan of campaign as such was just to try something different, you know?
Yeah, but that's what we kind of get from it, because what happens is when you're trying to draw a person and you're trying to bring them into some realism, people then very critical about the posture's wrong, the pose, you know. And then if you go and look at art, well, you know, we look at cubism and we look at these different approaches. You could step into any of them realms. It's just when we think about fashion illustration, then we think about,
we kind of pigeonhole ourselves.
Yes, and I feel that you need to learn how to have the bravery and just take it all apart, re-put it back together, and then go, okay, so I learned this from doing that. And sometimes just drawing the pieces, like just draw.
No, I like that idea, because actually, funny enough, as you said it, it was something probably at 4:20 in the morning when I normally kind of have a wake up moment. I was thinking I could just, because I loved the shoes and I loved the statement Jeremy Scott made, and I don't really like Jeremy Scott, but anyway, about melting cheese and all of that whole thing. And I thought I should focus on the shoes, focus on the jacket, focus on the headpiece. But I didn't know quite how to go about it. But I like your swatch idea. That opens a door for me in my head.
Yeah, I think the background's quite interesting. It reminds me of what Paolo Reversi does for his materials when he does the backdrops for his photography.
Yeah, well, that was a pre-colored background.
Yeah, so you're using the Connie world of
recycling.
Yeah,
I am. Yeah.
Yep. Recycle.
Reuse, reinvent.
Thank you.
I think especially when you're someone who's used to draw very detailed, it's so hard to be a little more abstract. It always looks so easy. I find that when I try it myself, that the hardest part is to leave things
absolutely out. Anya, totally, 100%.
Or to just stop at a certain point. And then, like Patrick says, it can help it so much that you don't start to define, or is this pose now absolutely correct? But just to have some.
It's like the Moschino one with the orange puff sleeve jacket, right? I mean, that was far better about 4 steps ago.
Yeah, sometimes you have to kill it though.
Yeah, well, I killed it. I did that successfully.
Not when to stop.
Yeah.
And it becomes easier.
It's, you know, it's like I have a pain issue, and I call it, you only see the line in the sand when you've run past it. And you're paying the price and you look back and think, oh, I should have stopped then, you know.
It happens.
There's another Armani piece. I just would like your comment on this one here. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, nice. This one's good.
Oh,
yeah, this one's nice.
This one's great.
That's very nice.
This is one of the best pieces you've done, Patricia.
Really, Patrick?
Yeah, honestly.
Thank you.
It has an Antonio Lopez feel to it.
It does. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
The face, it has that sort of new romantic look.
Yeah. I had ink in a little squeezy bottle with I think they use them in alcohol inks, in small fine, I don't know, nib for want of a better word, but there's no controlling the flow of the ink. So I just kind of went hell for leather.
Mm.
I love those bold lines that you
Mhm.
used. It's
What
very,
would
very
you,
strong.
would you say that it needs a kind of a background, or
No,
as is, leave it alone, Trish, walk away.
no. This is just right.
All right,
Just
well,
the
that's
pop of
interesting.
colors.
And that was ink.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's great.
So thank you, Anya.
Very nice.
Because if you look at the next one, I completely murdered it. That one, I was trying.
Yeah.
No, that was my murdered Moschino.
But again, you have to murder it sometimes.
Well, I have absolutely. But there's an Armani that I tried using collage, absolutely, kind of nearly all of the pieces in collage. And yeah, it was tedious, and I don't think it was me. But I tried it.
Good.
I think Pam
this
Hogg,
one, next
Pam
one
Hogg
there.
would be it really right.
Sorry, darling.
Pam Hogg. We did the Pam Hogg show
Oh,
Yeah.
on the Fashion Week, and I feel that you've got a Pam Hogg vibe.
Deep in my soul, I definitely have. Yeah.
Did you draw any Pam Hogg?
I didn't actually know.
Well, this is what we were talking about with Anya just a minute ago, is finding your client, finding
Yeah.
the right client. And I would say, you know, Westwood, McQueen,
Yeah.
where you've got these sort of elaborate big poses and they're quite playful. But
Yeah.
Pam Hogg is that sort of punk,
Yeah.
very
Attitude.
attitude.
Yeah.
I think that you should be doing Pam Hogg. I'd go back
Yeah.
to her show and have a look at it, the vividness of colours.
But in saying that you liked the Armani fur collar job.
I love it, but I can see how you could bring that into her as well. Yeah,
And can I just ask a question, if I may? I know it's slightly pushing it, but do you see the very first image that you looked at? It's not what there, the lady with the big turban. Do you see that kind of mark making that I did in that image? What do you think of that? Is that something I should bring into the fashion illustration? Walk away from it, Trish? What do you think? You don't like it?
No. I'm trying to work. So I think the headpiece is good, and I think you're bringing in some of the good marks. The charcoal mark making is almost just messy rather than constructive.
Yeah, too strong.
Where you made that silhouette with the black, it was really graphic and strong. And then you did them, as Anya said, them black painting marks, and they just solidified it really well. Where here, what you're doing here as a mistake is you're generalizing too many spots. So when you're drawing around the head and you're doing the face, it feels stylized, like you're trying to stylize it, and it feels too contrived.
All right.
The other one feels more like you're just going for it, and and it feels, but it has a bit of skill in it, and you should think that I might do 50 drawings and only one is good.
Yeah,
so you should have that. So when we look at this and we pick out one, it doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. It means you did one thing right.
Yeah.
And then when you have an exhibition, you edit, and editing is the skill. So you do 50 bad ones, one good one. Right, now I need to do another 50 to get another good one. And then in 1 year, you have 10 drawings, but they're all powerful.
Yeah.
That is the skill. And Connie is talking about that. The editing, the amount of crap you have to create to do a good one. Yeah, it's a lot of garbage that you don't like, and you have to learn to find the good ones.
Yeah, that's a challenge. Yeah, it is a challenge, actually. Thank you. Thanks for looking at that. I appreciate it, because it was a direction I liked, and I thought I would pursue, but I was interested to hear your feedback.
And I feel what's important if you're working with ink, with black ink, I think the line quality is very important.
Right.
So that not all lines have the same emphasis
Density.
and the same quality. So it's you need to have spots where it's much thicker, and then it has to be at other parts more delicate.
Good point.
So this is what makes it look then interesting.
I was using a parallel pen for the first time. I'd never tried one.
Okay, because I think with this one, I feel like you want me to look at all parts at the
I
same
understand
time,
what you're
and
saying.
it's like
Yeah,
my eyes
thank you.
starts dancing around.
Yeah,
Because
you don't know
it's
where to
all like
rest.
it was like, yeah, you're trying to emphasize everything in this.
Thank you.
image.
That's good advice. Yeah, thank you very much.
Who else have we not seen? Anyone on the group we've missed? Come on.
I think that is pretty much.
Hold on. We did Connie Lim,
No, no more
I
things,
think that's
Jordan?
it.
I have
Yeah.
one.
Oh, come on, Connie, let's see yours.
I'm not.
Anya, we should have got you to draw.
Yeah, we should have got you, Patrick.
We
Patrick, we should have
slipped
got
up.
you.
It's not my best, but
Yeah.
I literally had to use an old drawing because I didn't have time to do a new, fresh one. But I don't know. I'm not really feeling it, but I tried.
When you say you used an old drawing, what do you mean, Connie?
I drew with a pencil
Yeah.
previously on a canvas. This was like 10 years ago, and I still had it. Yeah.
Oh, so the pose was there, you just added the...
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Okay.
So the pose wouldn't match the show because the show is quite moody and stuff, but she's like,
I really like how you always recycle everything.
Yeah.
I
This is
do.
so
Like,
cool.
10-year-old drawing. I was like, can't bear
Good
to
for
look
you.
at it.
Still
Connie,
think she looks lovely.
Connie, do you want me to say a negative?
Yes, please. I know he's coming.
Right, so we're mirroring it back to you.
Yeah.
Look at the right shoulder compared to the left shoulder.
I know. I know. I thought it could be like a, but not really.
But I think the right shoulder would have, it's too much like this.
Yeah, I know. I realize that now. I've taken a picture of it. I think I need to liquefy and lower that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
same here. If Patrick, now that Patrick says it, I mean, the head is just beautiful,
It is, I agree. The face
like
is beautiful.
always.
Mm.
And
could-
I like, now you're drawing much more with these oil pastels now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. I mean,
I
it's very different, but it works very well.
Oh, thanks, Sonia. Coming from you makes me happy. I think I was saying the other chat that because I'm so perfect, I like oils because it forces me to not be perfect in a sense.
Yeah.
And have you used is it linseed oil you use to
No, I just use
melt them?
the sticks, oil sticks.
I know, yeah, but you know the way you can mix them? I think it's with linseed oil to
Yeah.
actually.
But some of them, if you get the nice ones, they're quite creamy already. So
All
then
right. Yeah.
balance,
Okay.
yeah.
I must have cheap ones.
Yeah, they're hard. The cheap ones are
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. No, I don't like them.
Yeah.
But I do have expensive and very good chalk pastels. And I do have a very soft heart,
Yeah.
a place in my heart for chalk pastel. Yeah. But I need to modernize it. You know what I mean?
I think I'm just trying to be more not so controlled with the face anymore because I do
Yeah.
too much in the face, and I think I wanted to step away from it.
Yeah.
Because it was already drawn. I feel like it's too much detail in the face and not enough on other places, but that's just me being self-critical.
I
We're
think,
all very good at that.
I think, Connie, what the pastels has done to you is it makes you make decisions. You know, you're like picking out that ochre orange or the yellows, and you're saying it's a decision I have to make.
Yeah.
Where when you use coloring pencils, you can kind of make edits and change. And
Yeah.
I think this is what's happening, is you're having to make harder decisions, and you're finding it probably quite stressful. Pastels are probably the hardest tool.
Really.
By
I
far.
adore, that's why I adore Chris Gambrell. I just adore the way he uses the chalk pastels.
I think he uses chalk though.
acrylics. He uses acrylics the same. He uses acrylics like pastel.
I know that. I've seen them and I love them. I know he's got an exhibition on at the moment and they're all gorgeous.
He's great.
Mm.
He is a real gem.
And he's a very good tutor.
Yes. And he's very humble about his approach.
I know he is. He has no idea how good he is.
I love how he came from a fine art background and not
Absolutely.
fashion.
Yeah. I think was it sculptor? Sculptor?
Yeah.
I think that's what he said in one of the classes. He came from a sculpture background.
Because he had kids. And I was like, whoa, you have kids.
Yeah. I think he spent quite a lot of time in Japan.
He gave up and then he kind of came back.
Oh yeah. That gave me hope, because sometimes it stresses me out and then I want to stop art for a little bit.
I guess we all have this.
Yeah.
You too, Anya?
Yes, definitely.
Oh my God.
Well, you all work so hard. I mean, you're all doing 74 million things, including you, Patrick.
That's called clients, Anya, is when you have to work for clients, they make you want to give up. And if you could eradicate them,
you'd be poor but happy.
You'd be poor. But, well, I don't know. I think the biggest challenge, and I think two good examples is probably Cecilia Karlstead, and now Jessica Bird, who I feel are now bringing in their own personal flavour, what they do. And Cecilia Karlstead, look at her old work. It was very, more mainstream. And then I think she must have had an epiphany and just said, enough is enough. And changed. And you can see it kind of changing slowly. And then there was a moment where she just literally went, right, that's it. It's inks, cutting out, collage. And she's influenced the whole generation of people, but she's still standing, I think, at the forefront of fashion illustration. And I think everyone sort of admires what she's got it just right.
Yes, that's true.
I think she's got the balance of art and commercial right in the middle.
Yeah, she's got it right in that perfect zone.
I think we should send her a copy of this recording. And when she's feeling in any way down, she can play it.
It's a hard sparrow to capture. That's one thing.
A hard sparrow to capture.
Don't you worry. I've been chasing her.
Out chasing birds, not good.
Well, I think she's got a lot to say, and she's got a lot of creativity. It's just a lot of people are good at art, and sometimes they just don't want to talk so much about it.
No.
One day, don't worry. Howard Tangy took me 3 years to get him to speak. And I got him. So Cecilia Karlstead might take me 5 years, but we'll get there.
Break her with charm.
Don't you worry. No, it's just fascinating to hear what artists have to say and making these leaps. It's the leaps and Connie, you'll have seen your work making leaps, and I think that's what's quite important.
I'm going somewhere.
No, but you
leap into the you're leaping into the unknown, really, which is very brave.
The courage to keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That dark zone, and it might not get commercial work in the beginning, but then you build up that breadth of volume, and then people go, right now. And we're seeing this with Jess. Jess has probably been pounding that pavement for, I would say, 5 years, and she's now reaping the rewards. Only now, because we've seen it. You've seen it. The hard work's gone in.
I think Julia's work is on a trajectory that's going to hit a level. No, seriously, Julia, I just think you've I could see an exhibition of your work. You know, it's got a lovely fine art twang to it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You're very
Yeah.
welcome. I'm not being flattering and just telling you factually.
Yeah.
It happens to be flattering, but it's not meant to be that way.
Yeah.
that's,
Okay. Yeah.
that's having courage. Julia, I saw Julia's work a month or two ago, or however long ago when we first met, and look back at them first drawings,
Yeah.
and you'll cry, because I cried. I didn't, but I'm just saying that where we are now it's set in these sort of.
He means tears of joy, Julia. Tears of
Yeah.
joy.
No, we don't lie in the crits. Tears of pain.
Yeah.
But we got to where you have to, like we're seeing with Tomeo, we're seeing with the benefits. It's the benefits of these, and
For sure. For
the
sure.
minds of Anya and people like that, is to work out a balance of all these spaces. So
Well, your work, Julia, today in this crit has inspired me.
good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, seriously, it has inspired me because Patrick is fantastic at talking about what he has in his head. But I love when he's talking, say, to you about the work, or Connie is talking to you about your work, or Anya is talking to you about your work. And suddenly I'm seeing it in a whole new light, and it opens a door for me. So thank you.
And we call them triggers, and that's what a crit,
Painful.
no, but what a crit does is,
Yeah.
Anya might go away now, have a cry, and say, "Oh my God, I need to change what I'm doing. What am I doing?" You know.
No, Anya, if that happens, you go look at your bottom line in your account. That's a big smile on your face.
You never know in these moments when you say, this gave me a bit of an incentive to try this or do that, you know, like you're saying. So I think all of us talking about what we're doing, so it's good, and it's nice to see Steph experimenting with her iPad drawings, or a iPhone drawing, sorry. It just shows you can
no, Steph, I thought your Moschino was like really distinctive and unique and vibrant.
Yeah.
Well done, everybody.
Yes. Anyway, thank you, Anya.
So
thank you all.
Thank you, Anya,
thank you,
so
Anya,
much.
again. Nice to see you. Thank you very much,
Thank
Connie.
you.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you.
And thanks very much, Patrick.
Thanks for your time.
Take
Thank
care of
you.
yourselves.
Good night.
Mind yourselves.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.